Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our exhibitor information session. We hope that you'll find it quite useful. On to the next slide, please, Hazel. So just a bit of housekeeping to start with. The meeting will be recorded. The session should take roughly 30 to 45 minutes, plus any questions that we might get. And we will make the deck and the recording available on the exhibitor zone for you on the exhibitor portal. To access the Q&A, there's a little symbol in the bottom right corner of your screen that looks like a square, triangle and circle all together there. If you click on that and then click on Q&A, then questions. But of course, anything else that you want to ask, just follow up with us afterwards, and we're very happy to answer any specifics. So before we go into the Meet the Team section, just a little bit to remind you about our rationale for moving to London. So we love the NEC. It's a great venue. It's bang up in the middle of the country, of course, and we will be back there in 2026. But we know that there's a large untapped audience of creatives in London and the South East, particularly a concentration of pro photographers in London. And we just don't feel that we're getting enough of them up to the show in Birmingham. Somebody said something really interesting on Monday to me, actually, that for people in the Midlands, London is sort of 80 or 90 miles away, but sometimes for people in London, it feels like it might as well be 900 miles away to get to Birmingham. So that kind of hits the nail on the head, really. We're just not getting the concentration of visitors from London and the South East up to the NEC for the show. So it's about accessing a new audience. We're bringing the show to them, you know, hopefully they'll be hooked, and we'll see them also coming to the Birmingham show in 2026. So it's just about growing the show, growing the audience, evolving the show, and yeah, as I said, bringing the show to that new audience. So just a quick Meet the Team section. So on the top row, we've got Johnny Sullens. He's the MD of events at Future. He looks exactly like that, only he's not quite so dark haired these days. I think a few of us probably need to update our photos. Then there's me. I'm the event director for the show. I kind of sit in the middle and coordinate with all the different departments, all the different elements of the show, and I also run the content program. Then there's Richard Macy, who most of you will have dealt with. He sells basically all of the stands and sponsorship on the show floor. Hazel is our group marketing manager. She is responsible for all of the marketing on the show. That's any comms that you get as exhibitors, but also, of course, going out to visitors and literally getting bums on seats. Then we've got Andrea, who I like to describe as our operations guru. She's been in event operations for a very long time, and she's also been on the show since the very start. So many of you will have met Andrea already or dealt with her over email, but she is your lady for all things operations and logistics. Then on the bottom row there, we've got Danielle Gardner, who acts as event support on this show. She helps me with the content program and helps on, well, all manner of different things on the show, actually, as we come into to the other side of Christmas, mainly. Katie Halls is our marketing exec. She works really closely with Hazel on the marketing and the social media. And then we've got Eve McCann, who is doing our PR and media and partnerships, this year. So you'll probably hear from her as well. She's your person to tap up if you have any exciting stuff to talk about, new product and so on. A bit about our lovely floor plan. So this is the floor plan for the show for 2025. As you can see, it looks quite different to the floor plan that we had at the NEC. We have two main entrances. So as you come into the boulevard, they call it at Excel, we are the halls directly on the left hand side. So entrance N1 is just there on the left, and that's where we have Hazel's helpfully circling it for us. That's where we will have one of our main entrances going up on that big red gangway there, one of our main aisles, and then further along we've got N4, which is the other main entrance we'll be using. That entrance is actually closer to the the car park and so on. So if people are, driving to the show, that's the one they would reach first. Although we will be pushing visitors to both entrances to even out the flow. Anyway, we know a lot of our visitors like to get there very early and wait to get in the show as soon as it opens. And then we've got a great big crossbar across the middle as well. Across the middle. So that really links up those two main aisles and makes it very easy for everyone to circulate the show. As usual, we also put all of our feature content, the majority of it, around the outside of the show. So it really draws people through and to all the corners. And so we don't get any what we would call dead spots. I'll hand over to Hazel for this bit.
Thanks, Ruth. So many of you will be familiar with the show and what to expect from us and the show itself, but this just gives you, particularly those of you who haven't exhibited with us before, a bit of an idea as to, well, what to expect. Our audience is very passionate, they're actively engaged. Some of them have been attending the show for longer than I have. Some of them were brand new last year and are shouting from the rooftops about it. So we do tend to get, it's a lovely audience to work with, really lovely. The average number of attendees is around 25,500 over the 4 days. The numbers that we get every year are BPA audited, and this means that we only ever give a pure or unique visitor number. So we don't count re-entries, we don't count Karen going in and out for her lunch, etc. And we also don't count exhibiting staff in that figure either. So we're literally just giving you the pure figures for visitors and buyers. The audience split has historically and continued to be 60% enthusiast and 40% professional, and our audience is unique. So almost 70% of 2024 attendees were not going to another show of this kind over this year, ahead of March 2025. You are getting a unique audience from us, and there's nowhere else that you can meet this many people in this kind of environment. Average visitor spend, you can see is fairly high across both enthusiast and pro and trade. We asked this as part of our feedback survey. 90% of consumer attendees who fed back on the survey said that they purchased at the show, and 85% of pro and trade attendees said they purchased at the show or as a result of visiting. Now, we asked them to discount or exclude any costs for travel or tickets or anything like that. So these figures are figures based purely on purchase of kit. I've left in the where visitors come from. This is obviously based on the show last year, which was at the NEC, but this is just to give you an idea of how UK-wide our audience is. So travel time in March was over 2 hours for 34% of our visiting audience. Obviously, as Ruth said, we've moved down to London to take more advantage of the audiences that we haven't yet tapped into in London and the southeast. But we do still expect people to come from other areas of the country, and certainly I would expect to, if anything, see a bit of a flip, but still similar kind of proportions coming from the West and the Midlands. In terms of recommending the show, we base our satisfaction rates on a Net Promoter Score. So for those of you not familiar, this is an indexed score, which the calculation for which is more complicated than I would say it needs to be. Johnny's a good one for explaining that, but he wasn't able to make it today just for that performance. So our Net Promoter Scores, enthusiast, we got 30 last year. for the 2024 show, and 2022 against the professional audience. You can see the industry averages there, and we're higher than those. It's a really difficult or hard way of scoring satisfaction rates because it takes out all of the drifters. Anyone who would say, you know, it was really great, but I had my train delayed, so they mark us an 8 just because of convenience or something else. They won't be included in the score. So it's a pretty harsh index to score against. In terms of our key, sorry, Ruth.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I've noticed recently, sometimes when I've been on the phone to a customer service department, they've specifically said, if you thought I was useful today, please mark me a 9 or a 10 when the survey comes through. They specifically say that because they know that that marking an 8 out of 10 is completely ignored. And yeah, just thought that was interesting. Sorry to interrupt.
Key focuses for this year. So as Ruth has already mentioned, we're moving to London. So obviously our key focus is tapping into that new audience that we've mentioned. Visitor experience and value for money is always a big thing for all of us, really. On the marketing side, we're including even more in the entry ticket. So we're keeping the prices of tickets the same as they were last year. We're just including a lot more. We won't be charging for masterclasses or any additional education. So whatever is in the halls is absolutely, accessible to all if you've got an entry ticket. We will continue with offering free show guides and the free magazine on arrival, and we're offering free entry for students on the Monday and Tuesday. We do very much encourage students to come to the show because they are our next generation of buyers. Creators and video, again, a market that we've been focused on and working on over the last few years. We will continue to expand our CreatorCon proposition, which the Creator Stage and the Creator Playground make up the CreatorCon brand, and we'll look to appeal to newer and younger image makers as well. Video interest, as you probably know, is growing and growing. So our content offering across the video realm will also grow. In terms of demographics, our overall objective is to make everyone feel welcome. We will mention other bits and pieces around this a bit later on in the presentation, but it's really important for us to make sure that we as an industry are welcoming in new people all the time, and that we are pushing the inclusivity. So we're continuing to work with our partners to improve diversity and the gender balance, and Ruth works incredibly hard on the speaker side to make sure that that's all encompassing across what we do. We're also, of course, not forgetting our core audience. So there are, as I mentioned, those people who've been coming to the show for longer than we've been working on it, and we wouldn't want to abandon them. So of course we've still got that focus on protecting our core market and the traditional photography audience as well. Back over to you, Ruth.
Just finding that unmute. Yes, so stages and theatres. Firstly, I just wanted to say, if you have put anybody forward as an ambassador speaker, put any sessions forward, and you haven't yet heard from me, please don't panic yet. Well, no, please don't panic. I'm working through it all, but we did have a really, really good response this year. So there's a lot of it to get through, but I will be in touch very soon. So just to do a features walkthrough then, from the top of the hall clockwise round. So the first one we've got is all things analog. So this is our analog area for 2025. I changed the name a bit this time. It encompasses the analog stage, which will have an expanded seating area this time, given the popularity of sessions in 2024. And also a demo area next to it too. So the demo areas, I mean, we've had a demo area previously, but we've got some kind of exciting stuff in the pipeline that we're looking to bring to the show. So that's due to be also expanded. Yeah, watch this space. We'll let you know when we have more details on that. But the stage itself covers all things film photography and sometimes analog video as well. Techniques, processes, the challenges, the joys, and yeah, where what analog's place in today's photography world is. Next up is Photo Live. So this is always a really popular stage. I think partly because of the kind of dynamic nature of the demos that we can put on there. We can put some really exciting stuff on. It's the area for live tethered shooting demos. So everything is lighting, posing, working with models, freezing movement, all that sort of thing. And you can see from the picture there from last year, we had Kelly Brown there doing a demo on a demo on maternity photography, and a number of other high-class speakers as well. In terms of editing and post-production, well, our editing and post-production stage kind of does what it says on the tin. Editing, post-production, workflow tips for stills and video. Talking about all sorts of different techniques and tips, and covering various software applications as well. It's been getting more and more popular over the last few years, and I mean, actually, the session that's pictured there with all of those people is one of Scott Kelby's sessions, which we would expect to be popular, but a lot of the sessions were pretty full last time. So again, expanding that seating area somewhat. Next up, we've got Behind the Lens, which this year is sponsored by Hahnemühle Fine Art. This offers insight into stories and techniques, the stories behind images and projects, and really offers the chance to do inspirational sessions. It's the place really to showcase photography content that can't really be live demoed in an event environment. And in terms of format, I mean, it's our only fully draped theatre on the show floor, but also has talks as well as interviews and kind of fireside chat panels, that sort of thing. Next up is Fundamentals, which is a new one for 2025. So Hazel talked earlier about us having everything accessible under one ticket in the hall, and that's part of this drive really. So previously we've had separately paid for masterclasses outside of the show floor for beginners, turning pro and pro masterclass. Excuse me. This time we're putting that content onto an open stage on the show floor, so we'll still feature that beginner content for photo and video, turning pro, which is a really important part of the market, we think, and also those business practice sessions for pros. So yeah, excited to see that one come to life. Next up is the kit showcase. Again, this is new for 2025. Those who are familiar with the show will know that we tend to veer away from content on our stages that is too product-led or sort of salesy, but we also appreciate that you might want somewhere to shout about new kits and innovations and features on products as well. So this year we decided to put in a kit showcase stage where you'll be able to book sessions to come and talk about developments and new products and all of that sort of thing. So whether it's lighting, cameras, gimbals, you name it. And now the Emotion Studio. So this is really our hub for all things video. This is where you can go to really delve into the techniques and sort of storytelling elements, how you can produce better video content, how you can market that video content, all sorts of things like that. So it's almost like the equivalent of Behind the Lens, but for video, and again covers all levels. So really be a really engaging stage, I think, this time, and we've got some really good speakers in the pipeline. And then we've got CreatorCon, as Hazel excuse me, as Hazel said earlier, that's our umbrella brand for the creator stage and creator playground. So the creator stage is really the place for all things online content creation. So with that, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc. How to create that content, how to build a community, how to monetize your content, all of that sort of information within the sessions on this stage, as well as talking to like pro photographers and videographers about how they can use social to engage communities and also to market their business. So yeah, really goes hand in hand then with the creator playground. Creator playground, we've had this for the last 2 years, and we're planning to develop it further for 2025. We get really excited when we start looking at this, because it means we can get really creative and have a lot of fun with it. This is the place for us to basically make a playground, a play area for anyone who wants to create content on site. So it's all about getting involved, getting engaged, making content on site, sharing that content, having fun, and yeah, getting really creative. So yeah, exciting. And next up is our galleries and photo walks. So we usually have a number of galleries on site. Last year we had quite a lot of different galleries actually, including She Clicks, Travel Photographer of the Year, and the London Camera Exchange Photographer of the Year awards galleries. We're planning similar things for this year. We haven't got a full list of them yet, but yeah, watch this space and we'll let you know what they are. And also then photo walks and after hours activities. So this is something that we feel we have even more opportunity for now that with the show being in London. You know, Excel is really, it's on the Docklands. There's some really interesting stuff to photograph out and about, or to create content with out and about. You know, like minutes away from the city, and you know, there's lots of opportunity to run things like photo walks or workshops. We'll be running some. Let us know if you plan to run some as well. But yeah, there's loads of opportunity to do exciting kind of workshops and after hours meetups and things at the venue. Next, please. I think that's it from me.
So just going back to Excel again, we're moving to London for this year, and this is just a little bit of an additional spiel really on Excel as a venue. You can see there the first point is around the independent research that shows that following the opening of the Elizabeth line, dwell time at Excel has increased, as has attendance from Greater London and Europe. We, I think, from personal experience, can all say how easy it is now to get across London to Excel via the Elizabeth line and the DLR as well. So it's super easy, as highlighted. Excel are making a lot of investment. They're investing a huge amount at the moment in making Excel a destination as opposed to an exhibition venue. So they've got a lot of development underway, a lot of expansion planned. They have just created Immerse London, or LDN, which is a set of interactive installations that includes the F1 exhibition, which we went to on Monday, and I thought it was rather good, despite not actually liking F1 that much. But there we go. But it all just kind of packages up the venue as a really ideal meeting point for our community. There's plenty of photo opportunities. There's plenty of content creation opportunities, both inside the event and outside, as Ruth said, with photo walks and various other things that we'll have on. So it's really a chance for visitors to get buying and then get using what they've just bought. And Excel, they've made quite a footprint, I guess, in terms of working with working with other organisations across London, so much so that they've now got access to collaboration with YouGov, who do a lot of the kind of widespread surveys across the UK. Now, their attendance annually is around 4 million. It is growing. And they've been able to give us these stats based on YouGov surveys and overlaying on their audience. So I'm not going to read all of those out, but it really just gives you an idea of the market that we're looking at. So 28% of Excel London attendees enjoy photography, compared with a lower rate nationally. When you think 28% of 4 million is actually really quite a lot, then it's a really positive story. 30% of Excel London attendees own a digital camera. 9% of attendees intend to purchase a digital camera over the next 12 months. The list goes on. It's a great story, and we're really looking forward to being there and bringing that audience to you. And now back over to Ruth for the stand build and operations section.
Unfortunately, Andrea, our operations guru, can't be with us this morning, so you've got me instead again. So in terms of planning your stand, key things to consider. It sounds really obvious, but know your stand type, space only, shell scheme, and what that includes and what it involves. We have had people turn up before and think that they've got one and not the other. So yeah, just make sure you know what you've got and what that includes. Likewise, your stand size and position in the hall. You need to think about things like orientation and so on of your stand. Please do log on to the exhibitor manual via the exhibitor portal when you get a chance. Actually, the exhibitor portal is live. The manual isn't quite up there yet because we are writing that or amending that, ready to go up at the moment. But you will get an email from Hazel and her team as soon as that is live. Make sure you complete the compulsory tasks in there. There's a number of things that will be marked compulsory, and please take note of the deadlines for key services. This is particularly key because afterwards for some services, so you know, make sure you know what you want and get your orders in on time. So space only plans, they will be 14th of January, and your safety paperwork as well. Things like shell scheme name boards, electrics, flooring, all that sort of stuff. It's mostly the 5th of February, so that's a good date to have in your diary. We'll also make sure those dates are nice and clear on the manual too. So next slide, please. So in terms of the sections of the manual, we're just going to quickly talk through these. So there's a timetable so that you've got all of the information you should need regarding access times for build and breakdown, show open hours, any, you know, and any timings like that, and all the key requirements for each of those periods. There'll be a section on official and recommended suppliers, and you'll be able to access the web shop for core services to order those. Passes is a section within there, so passes and speaker passes, so that's something that you'll all need to look at. Deliveries, in terms of how you get how you do pre-bookings for those, and that all of the information will be on the manual. Excel uses the same system as the NEC, which is voyage control for booking in vehicles for deliveries and so on. So that for those of you who have been before, that system should be fairly familiar. Next, please. There's also an A to Z, so anything that you're looking for that you can't find, that's the place to start. So you should be able to find everything that you need listed within that section. And health and safety, of course, is really important. The section will show what your obligations are in there, you know, your health and safety declaration, which is something that needs to be completed by exhibitors, not by contractors. That's quite important. It'll tell you all about emergency procedures and site rules that you'll need to issue to your contractor. Space only exhibitors will need to, so these are quite detailed plans showing layout and elevations and so on. Need to also supply your RAMs, which is risk assessments and method statements, as well as construction phase plan, and of course ensure show that you've got all the relevant paperwork behind you. Shell scheme exhibitors, you can see a diagram there of a shell scheme and then some examples around it. So shell scheme includes your shell, walls, carpet and name board. You can order that like that, so power and lighting, you can order graphics, you can change your carpet color, you can and you also just submit to show what's needs on your name board, exactly how you want it to appear. Lighting and graphics really can make your shell scheme stand out. Then there's a number of ways you can make them look really good. There's a couple of examples here. You can see the pictures probably look quite small from on the screen, but they've got full graphic coverage on the two at the bottom, and next to there has they've got sofas, and it looked like a little living room. It's got sofas and lamps and flowers and furniture in there, so it kind of, you can hardly tell that it's shell scheme. So there's a number of things that you can do to really kind of jazz it up and make it stand out. Back to Hazel.
To help if I had my microphone on, wouldn't it? Marketing and PR support. We run a marketing and PR campaign which is 20 weeks long. So we will be launching ticket sales at the beginning of November this year, just to avoid the Black Friday rush. As part of that, we work, or try to work, very closely with the exhibitors. And in terms of promoting you, we like to know the following from you, just so that we can put out the information across the website, across our social channels and on email as well. So we're looking for details around any stand activities, including demos and talk schedules, product launches and new kit. We always like to know about any new kit that's going to be at the show, and we can help with product launches at the show if that's something that you're looking into as well. Show offers and giveaways are it's always a nice surprise for visitors to turn up and find out what show offers are on, but if you've got anything that you want going out ahead of the show to shout about, that's always good as well. And as I said before, we do encourage students, so any student deals and programs that you're running, it's great to know about those as well. Promoting the show, so in exchange, we ask you to promote the show as well. This is great for promoting your presence to both your customers and your prospects as well. There is no better time to be meeting your customers and your prospects in a face-to-face environment, being able to show them any new kit, any potential kind of accessories that they can get in addition to what they've already bought for you, and really upping that customer value, and of course getting those sales with prospective buyers as well. So we provide marketing materials for communications to your customers, and we can help with writing copy for you and various other things. So please just do ask if you need anything from us for that. We have a far-reaching marketing and PR package. You can see there some of the reach that we have via email. That's our in-house, our show database, and also we have access to a lot of data across Future, as some of you will know and will see on the next slide. We have access to the likes of Tech Radar, Digital Camera World, and various other photography titles as well, and hobby titles in addition to that. You've got the social media reach there. We do have an extensive social media campaign running throughout. We work with a lot of partners to get additional reach through that. And then we've got our PR campaign, which is pretty extensive coverage across the UK and beyond as well. And as I said, we are connected with established and leading brands across Future, including Digital Camera World. There are cross-show and brand ad packages to take advantage of. So if you would like us to introduce you to any of that, the publications team, we can do that. But this just gives you an idea of the audience and the market that we can go out to. In terms of the exhibitor portal, once you've logged in, you can see all of the key information that you'll have access to. As Ruth said, the manual's not quite ready yet, but once it is, we'll let you know, and we'll add that to the portal as well. And you can add to your web listing. The exhibitor portal is where you add to your web listing as well. So you can add all kinds of things using WEX as an example here. You can add brochures, product specs, people like video demos. It's quite flexible in terms of the info that you can add. Just remember that the more you put into this, the more you'll get out of it. We have a lot of people visiting the website, particularly during the last 6 weeks of the campaign, and they do look at these listings, so it's worth making an effort to make sure you stand out. And this very orange important notice may seem like a very little thing in the grand scheme of things, but I do mention this every year. If you are offered our visitor data by a third party, ignore them, please. Forward the message to us, and we will liaise with our legal team to deal with it. There are a lot of scam artists out there offering data and taking people's money, and that data never appearing. So anything that you find, please just ignore. We would never ask a third party to sell our data for us. That's totally against our GDPR policy within Future, so please be mindful. They are very convincing. Last year they were using some of them were using our logo, so don't get sucked in. Handing over to Rich for options to amplify.
Thank you. And just to emphasize what Hazel said about people offering data there, please do forward it to me. I take great pleasure in telling them to go away and copying in our legal team at the same time. I really enjoy it. Maybe that's just me. So in terms of sponsorship opportunities, if you're familiar with the show, you'll know that, as Ruth alluded to earlier, we have features all around the show floor, and you do have the option to sponsor those. You can include your branding, which just enhances your presence at the show. Of course, the most important thing is that people come and find you on your stand and engage with you, but it's a great way to just have your branding visible to everybody on the show floor. All of our stages are, or a majority of our stages are open, so people would see your branding throughout the show. And there's also an extensive package on the website pre-show, which just really amplifies your presence on the show floor. So if there's anything you're interested there, or if you want to discuss the opportunity, perhaps some sponsored floor tiles or some lanyards, then just drop me a line and we can look at the options for you. And it's just quite a creative way to add to what you've already done. If you're not familiar with Excel, it's a very, very large building, and there is a very large concourse that runs from one end to the other, and our show is at one end of that concourse, and people will enter the show. All around Excel there are cafes, eateries, screens, and we, unlike the NEC, have the option to give you a choice of sponsorship in or around the venue, as well as just inside the show. So this could be something as simple as some banners across the covered walkway from Custom House Station to the hall. There are screen options. So again, it's a really good opportunity to remind all of your people that are coming to see you that you're there, where they can find you in the show. But actually, as we alluded to earlier, Excel now is very much a destination as well. So it's actually a good opportunity to get your branding in front of people that may not be visiting the show as well. So again, if you want to discuss that, just drop me a line and we'll have a catch up. Next, please. Oh, and finally. So yeah, so just again, just a little bit of advice about exhibiting. yourselves. So do plan your presence at the show. Decide what you want to get out of it. Set yourself targets, set yourself objectives. Speak to people that have perhaps exhibited at other shows or even at this show before. And get involved. As we said, we can't guess what you are doing. So if you've got on-stand activity, let us know. We can help promote that for you. If you're doing a couple of education sessions every day, let us know. Also, if you want to submit a speaker for one of our stages, please do. However, please be aware that we're very deep into programming now, but please do submit something to us anyway. There's no guarantee we can get you involved at this stage, but wherever possible, we do like to work with exhibitors. And again, it's just something to build on your presence at the show. In terms of resource, make sure the people you have on your stand know what they're talking about. So it's kind of an all hands on thing. It may well be that you're taking people to the show that perhaps don't work in the sales or marketing department. It could be someone from accounts. It could be someone from the warehouse. So just make sure that they know what they're talking about, and just make sure that everybody knows what's expected from them. And make sure they understand the product, or if they don't understand the product or the service, that they can hand that client over to someone that does. Think about clothing as well. Do you have branded polo shirts so people can clearly identify you? Are you more of a company that feels that you should be in more formal business attire? So just make sure that what you wear reflects your brand and means that people know who they should be talking to on the stand when they approach. And I guess the most important thing to emphasize there, again, without reading through a list, is it's really hard work. It's really tiring, but it can be fun. And it is a great way to bond with the team, to actually spend a few days talking to people that perhaps you may only speak to for 10 minutes a week. So really do enjoy it. Image choices. This is kind of a bit of housekeeping. So obviously we're in a visual industry. It's all about image, be it moving image or still image, but please do think about the images that you may put on your stand. We're a family show. We're an inclusive show, and we would want to stay the right side of racy. So just if you've got something, just think about, would it be something that not everybody on the show floor would enjoy? And if you're not sure about something, feel free to consult us. And then get interactive. Make your stand out, make it bright, have things happening on the stand, run competitions, have activations. There are 100 ways that you can do that. It could be something as simple as some free sweets, whatever you want to do. But again, if you're not sure about, or if you want some ideas, just drop me a line and I'll tell you what other exhibitors have done in the past. Next, please. And then some very obvious things, but we hope to get thousands and thousands of people and work you to the bone, and it will fly by and it will feel like you've been in there an hour, but you've actually been in there 8 hours. But just do think about things like lunch. Make sure you've got a rota so people can escape for however long and just take the weight off their feet and get some food. And then think about the evening as well. Especially if you're planning on eating in one of the many places on site or that will be on site, wherever possible, make sure you book ahead with larger groups. Pre-order if you can. We pre-order about 80% of our evening meals on site, and we send around a survey. I think, to be honest with you, I think we've already ordered our food for March next year. It's probably the most important thing, apart from the show, obviously. But yeah, just make sure you're organised, make sure people are looked after. Hotels, if you haven't booked, do get on the case now. As you can see, we've got a partner, BCD Accommodation, that are there to help you and source rooms for you. there are some really, really good deals in or around Excel. And as someone pointed out to me the other day, if you go one stop from Excel in either direction, I think he said there's about 50,000 rooms available in that area. But the key thing is to get on the case early. Prices, of course, will go up as you get nearer to the show. That's just how things work. But as I say, if you drop a line to BCD, they will be able to help you. And they've got everything from small companies to large companies for group bookings. Stand etiquette. So hopefully everyone understands that we spend all of our time trying to get as many people as possible to come and see you at the show. So please don't miss any of them for whatever reason. So, and again, please forgive us if these are very, very obvious things, but you would be surprised. We visit shows all the time, and we quite often see these things happening or not happening in certain cases. So do greet customers, do be enthusiastic. Your product, your service, the thing that will sell it above and beyond is your passion and enthusiasm for what you do. That's what people are looking for. As we alluded to, train your staff, make sure they address people correctly. We've put female and male there. I don't think we need to emphasize what that means, but as I say, we're an inclusive show. Everybody's equal at the event. Keep your stand tidy. No boxes, no rubbish, no sandwich wrappers, no Mars bars. Just let people focus on you and what you've got to offer people. Standing is better than sitting. It's just you're ready. If someone's sitting down, then someone could just walk past and think you're not ready to engage with them. And smile. And here is Hazel and I showing you some things that you definitely shouldn't do on your stand. And again, you would be surprised how often you see this. So there's Hazel tucking into a pastry on the stand, which not only is a bit rude, but will mean that she's got to go and wash her hands, or maybe she doesn't. So when she greets you, she's got pastry on her fingers. And there we are there just looking a bit bored, looking at our phones, gazing into the distance. And again, speaking from experience, this does happen. I visited a show in Amsterdam 3 weeks ago, and there was at least half a dozen stands where people were doing exactly these things. No one's going to approach you. No one wants to talk to you. They think you're not interested. So just be there. Just be ready. And then on the body language thing, don't put your hands in your pockets. Don't cross your arms. These are just, again, things that put up barriers and make people think that you're not interested in talking to them. As I say, just to re-emphasize, your passion for what you do is the most important thing on that stand. To you, Ruth.
Yep, this is back to me. You'll all know, and as Hazel said earlier, we have lots of media brands in-house at Future and a number of photography titles, but one that we don't own is Amateur Photographer. We do, however, work very closely with them, and we are all friends. And the AP team have decided to put their awards on Monday, the 10th of March. So that is during the span of the show. So we are, happily promoting that for them as one of the partners that we work with. So yeah, if you're looking to have a very fun night out with some with 3-course dinner and some lovely dancing and see all these prestigious awards get presented, please do get in touch with the team at AP or visit the website address that's on here now to book tables. So it sounds like a great night out.
Underglobe is a super little venue, and there's lots going on in that part of town as well. It's good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's probably our last slide. So yeah, just remains to say thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you for coming and for listening. If anybody has any questions now, please do feel free to put them in the Q&A. Or if you think of questions afterwards that you wish you'd asked but didn't, then please do drop one of us an email. you know, most of you have got probably all of our email addresses, but there's also a page on the back of this, a slide on the back of this deck that has all our contact details on it. So anything that you think of that you want to ask us, just drop us a line. We're here to help, here to answer your questions, no matter how silly they might sound or otherwise. So should we just give it a second to see if anybody has anything to ask? Not seeing anything pop up.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and apologies for
everyone.
Issues.
Thank you, everyone, and do let us know if you need anything. As Ruth said, no question is too silly or too small.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.